Welcome back, Daily Dose. It is Monday, March 13th, 2017. Last I checked, I'm still Yela V. And now a Cinderella story of sorts is unfolding in Asia right now as I'm speaking, as the world's baseball classic is faced with a new reality. A winning, not at this specific moment, but usually a winning Israeli baseball team. The team seemingly came out of nowhere, but they're making their way to the top. Let's first take a look at this team, at where they are. This report from the I-24 news desk, so you can understand what I'm talking about, and we'll break it down right after.
Israel and baseball don't go together, yet the country is advancing far in the World Baseball Classic. In Israel's first ever tournament, the country beat South Korea, Taiwan, and the Netherlands to qualify for the finals. Some sports pundits are comparing the upset to the Jamaican bobsled team. Others are calling it the Israeli Cinderella story.
Well, our guys believe in themselves, and it doesn't matter what people outside that locker room say or think or believe. Our guys believe in themselves.
Yet, ironically, almost all the players are not Israeli. They're American Jews. World Baseball Classic rules allow for players who are eligible for citizenship to play under that flag. Israel grants nationality for anyone of Jewish heritage. The players are quite proud of being Jewish. Their mascot is nicknamed a mensch on the bench. Mensch is the Yiddish moniker for man, a compliment of sorts.
Absolutely. He's everything to us. He's as much of a teammate as he is a friend, as he is a comrade. I mean, we couldn't have done it without him. He brings more to the table than people even think.
Okay, so I will stop laughing. I have help here in studio in the likes of Mike Wagenheim, I-24 News Mike Wagenheim, who you are my mensch on the bench.
Thank you so much. It's quite an honor.
Exactly, the mention of it. Just before we go straight to that game that's going on right now, who is this team? I mean, where did they come out of? How well were they doing? And how's that game doing right now?
Let's start with your first question.
Please.
This team came out of nowhere. Israel has never been to the World Baseball Classic before. They were ranked 41st in the world going into this tournament. This takes 16 teams. They're ranked 41st. For them to be doing what they're doing right now is incredible. Keep in mind, some of these players do have major league experience, but they've been on the fringe for the most part. Not a whole lot of stars, a lot of career minor leaguers who may have gotten a cup of coffee at the highest level. They're going against other teams that are taking all-stars from the major leagues. Right. Big-time competition, national heroes. Cuba, if you leave the island, they don't even take you back onto the team. This is
you got to keep that in mind.
Let's keep that in mind.
And they did win against Cuba. That said, let's go straight to the scene of the action, and that is in Tokyo, where their latest game is going on right now. It's
not doing well. They're playing the Netherlands for the second time. They beat them the first time, but losing 12-1, I believe,
wow.
In the sixth inning right now.
Now, Zach Robb joining us. He's a super fan, or maybe a mensch on the bench, super fan at that game right now in Tokyo. And Zach, how is that game going on right now? What's going on?
How you doing? Hi from Tokyo. You told me to mention the stands, not the mensch on the bench. We have that guy on the bench right now. But yeah, a bit of a rough game so far. It's 10-1. But you know what? There's a lot of game left to be played. A couple more innings, and you never know. I've seen crazier rallies than this, so we can handle this.
Zach, first of all, I think you got to pray. Start praying. That's one thing. Start praying. You're right at the right spot there. I have to say, don't go anywhere. Well, first of all, what inning is it? This is. I have no idea about baseball. Don't go anywhere, Zach. Please explain to me.
It's sixth inning. It's a 9-inning game. You play 6 innings, but the run rule is in effect. So a couple more runs for the Netherlands, and they're going to call it. Zach, by the way, went to the qualifiers in Brooklyn last year. He is the super fan of all super fans of Israeli baseball. He knows his stuff.
And Zach, how do you become a fan of Israeli baseball?
Well, I was actually, believe it or not, I was at the games in Jupiter in 2012. All 3 games. I'm originally from Florida, lived in Israel for 6.5 years, but I was at all of those games in Jupiter, Florida, when they almost qualified in 2012, and I got hooked. I've got this hat almost 5 years ago now, before most people had those hats. I've been waiting and dreaming for 4 years now for this moment, and as soon as I had to be at those games in Brooklyn, and they qualified, that was a dream come true.
No, and you made it all the way to Tokyo, which is amazing. I am so tempted to actually ask you to streak that stadium, but I'm not going to do that. I'm making Mike here laugh. As we said, it's the 7th inning right now. We think
I believe they're still in the 6th.
it's
Still in the 6th. There's still a ways to go. Zach is a diehard, but odds are not looking good for this one. However, if Israel beats Japan coming up in their final game in Tokyo, then they should qualify for the next round. Even with a loss, it's still possible to go to the semifinals in Los Angeles next week. So still hope.
So there's still
even
hope
if,
in,
even
that,
if they fall
in
today.
that respect. And
Yes,
they're playing today. They're playing actually
They're playing the Netherlands.
the Netherlands. How strong are the Netherlands?
Netherlands, really good team. Several major leaguers on that club, including the player who replaced Derek Jeter at shortstop for the New York Yankees. So it's a stacked team traditionally. They're usually ranked in the top 10 in the world. And tough competition. Again, Israel did beat them in the last round, but it was a game that really didn't mean a whole lot to either team. They had already both clinched a spot in Tokyo. So this is the real thing now. And again, Israel still making waves despite a loss today.
No, entirely so. And I think it's quite fascinating. Zach Robb still joining us live from that game, right? You know, we can really see the game. When it comes to the cheers, first of all, really quickly, what kind of beer do you drink in a baseball game in Tokyo?
I actually don't drink alcohol, and I also keep kosher, so I can't really have the beer here.
No,
But
you
you'll have to ask
are
other
really
people.
then a
Sorry.
hardcore fan, because if you're doing 9th inning without any alcohol, I tip my hat to you. I gotta say, biggest cheer that you can do for the team out there in the field. What is your biggest cheer?
Right now, let's up. Yo, let's go, Nick!
There you go. Thank you. No, Zach Robb, that was phenomenal. Thank you so much. Thank Mike Wagenham in studio, who is my mensch on the bench. We'll be right back.